Criticism: The Last Days of Professor Henry Flower by Nelson F. Crouch. Flower. Henry Flower, age 62, overweight. Professor of Humanities at Yale University. Flower marries the stage presence of Shakespeare's Falstaff, the career of Professor Harold Bloom of Yale University, and the pseudonym and sexuality of Leopold Bloom from James Joyce's Ulysses. The playwright invented the idea of the rising it sophomore. The Muses: Calliope, Clio, Erato, Terpsichore, Thalia, and Urania. The Muses at times also play Yale students, who have the first names of the actors playing their roles. The Muses are ages 18 to 25. The time is now. Act 1, Scene 4. The scene is in the Yale co-ed's Henry Flower computer game. Flower is walking alone, carrying a club made of cloth. Along the way, the Muses, labeled Gamer 1, 2, 3, etc., confront Flower. They pop up from behind doors, behind windows, from behind the curtain, up from the floor, to confront Flower during his walk, ducking and weaving to avoid being clubbed. The first gamers are unarmed. During this scene, Henry is playing, in effect, whack-a-mole.
Henry, you taught us to flaunt conventional wisdom. Well, there's no more conventional wisdom than your obsession that kids today would be better off reading books. Just because books have been right for you and you have done right by books doesn't mean that they are right for today's kids.
Well, Flower, you've been book crazy your whole life. Look at your office. Books everywhere. Your home? Apparently the only thing you can find in your house is the refrigerator. Look at your bedroom. Your bed is buried under tomes. Your wife told me there were years when she didn't realize you had grown a beard because it was always buried in books. How can you call such a life living?
This is not about me. This is about the end of civilization as we have known it. And keep in mind, compared to my predecessors, I am... What do you all call yourselves out there, you young people? Yes, slackers. I am a slacker. If you compare me to, say, English philosopher John Stuart Mill, by the time he was 7 years old, he was reading Demosthenes and Homer in Greek and Racine in French. He learned, he mastered 14 languages, and he thought deeply about the meaning of liberty, a concept that America's youth take completely for granted. You all out there walk around blindly making decisions every day that implicate the deepest questions of morality and ethics, wearing the blinders of the dumbest horse.
Reading books chronically understimulates the senses.
Unlike computer game playing, which engages the player in a vivid three-dimensional world filled with moving images and musical soundscapes that the player navigates via a series of split-second decisions, books are simply a barren string of words on a page.
This is mind-blowing. Just think about the images boys are bombarded with when they play computer games. The images. Images of gore and mayhem and slaughter. Please! Where are Constable's magnificent English landscapes? Where are Turner's God-glorious sunsets? Where are Pollock's hallucinatory swirls? None of these images will ever make it to computer games. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Understimulates the senses. Barren string of words on a page. A single line of Shakespeare compresses more insight, requires more ratiocination than all 3 Academy Award-winning Lord of the Rings movies.
Which you never saw, of course.
I am not exaggerating. Indeed, I underestimate Hamlet's brilliance. Hamlet, Act 5, line 10, the single solitary word ends. So much depends on how the literary community interprets the single word ends. As intentions or consequences. The great critic Bradley wrote an entire book seeking to divine the meaning. Nietzsche labored over it. The great playwright Beckett wrote a play, Endgame, whose wellspring was this single word.
Hold it. Stop the presses.
The computer game stops.
Guys, this computer game, as presently programmed, will never sell. Dudes will never buy this game. You can't IPO a game company just by marketing it to girls.
Come on, Yale guys will subscribe to it. They're smart. Give them some credit.
No, they won't. They won't buy it. Not in the numbers we need to hit the promised land. There's no gold in these there hills.
Why not?
The game's got no sex in it. Sex sells, and this game has no sex. With no sex, guys will just go and watch porn.
You got any suggestions?
We program lines for the opening of the game, letting the flower character pick a damsel to go with him on his quest.
You think that's sexy enough?
Well, at least it's a start. We can build on it thereafter.
The stage lights go dark. The 6 muses are standing at attention in a line before Flower, smiling. He looks over the girls for a time and finally points to Erato, who beams at his choice.
Figures he'd pick Amy. Of course, she is the rising sophomore after all. The rest of us never had a chance. We have been picked over and cast into the dustbin of Yale literary history.
That's bullshit. I'm going to write more code. This lineup business was boring and sexist and gross.
Have at it, girl.
And I have some upgrades too.
Be my guest. In the world of computer gaming, if you're not advancing, you are falling behind.
The game continues. Flower is walking through a dark forest now with Erato by his side, wearing a flimsy, filmy dress. She is clutching him in fear. The other muses assume the role of scary birds, animals, and demons who fly out at Flower and Erato to scare them. Flower changes weapons. He is now brandishing a laser sword out of Star Wars. Gamer 2 appears dressed like a laptop computer. Gamer 4 fights Flower like an isobot robot.
Hey, Flower, ever played Doom?
Of course not!
And so you are not qualified.
This is so embarrassing. Who ever programmed me as a waif, afraid of my own shadow?
Thalia enters, flapping her wings like a banshee bird.
This is humiliating.
Good scream. Our sales are up 240% since I programmed you to act scared shitless. We're getting the slasher movie crowd. We're getting the slasher movie fan base. Young girls in peril puts guy ass in seats.
Gamer 2 is dressed like an iPhone and fights like a woo-wee femme-sapien humanoid robot.
Whoa! Listen, Henry. Listen for a change.
I'm listening.
Highly doubtful. You always say no one in Shakespeare truly listens.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Computer games connect people to a complex social relationship with their peers, exploring worlds together. With the internet, a poor boy black child in the New Haven ghetto can match wits and do battle with a poor girl in Bangladesh. In contrast, books force children to sequester themselves from other children.
Sorry.
Why have we grown so afraid to be alone with ourselves? You children have grown afraid of your own imaginations. Again, Hamlet was right. They have grown afraid of what images they might conjure. When I was 9 years old, I borrowed Hart Crane's collected poems from the Markham Library in the Bronx. And I sat out on my family's back porch steps under the streetlights, and Crane and I went places. Places of mystery and shadow and light and triumph, where no one is any longer willing to go.
Stop! I finished programming the new lineup opening the game. It's way cooler.
The stage lights go dark. After a time, the stage lights come back on. The 5 muses are wearing classic male fetish garb. Calliope, a nurse with a stethoscope around her neck. Urania, a cop with handcuffs. Cleo, a lifeguard. Thalia, a Swedish maid. Terpsichore, a strict teacher with a riding crop. Flower stands before the montage of muses. He can't make up his mind. He can't choose only one.
Who shall say I am not the happy genius of my household? But I have some further improvements.
Go ahead, give them to me. We can program your changes.
The lights go off. The 5 muses dressed in fetish outfits are all now wearing reading glasses.
Wait, I have one other upgrade.
Okay, fire away.
The lights go off. The 5 muses dressed in fetish outfits wearing reading glasses are now reading books. Their poses are based on a book called Women Reading. Calliope's pose evokes Cumean Sibyl from the Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo. Urania and Thalia evoke the painting The Artist's Sister by Carl Christian Constantine. Terpsichore evokes the painting After the Ball by Ramon Casasegarbo. Arato assumes a pose evoking Dreams by Vittore Matteo Carracos. Cleo evokes Eve Arnold's photograph of Marilyn Monroe reading James Joyce's Ulysses.
What's she supposed to be?
I think it's an inside joke.
I don't get it. What's an inside joke?
Why, oh why, fair Chelsea, did I not break with my wife Lila and take up householding with you?
Because you loved your wife more, Henry. Because you loved your Lila more.
And you, Allie, how did I ever find the wherewithal to desert your fair bed?
You told me I was the first woman to ever really get you. We alternated pages reading every single word of your book on Yeats while we lay in bed together. You were entranced by my magical automatic writing. My poems were all about the stars. We made love by candlelight. You struggled to find words for our relationship. You called it a relationship, the ineffable. And it was great for many months. Neither of us ever dreamed it could be like that. But then you took me to dinner at the home of your colleague, R.W.B. Lewis, the Neil Gray Professor of English and American Studies at Yale, and his wife, Nancy, and I caught you looking at my nose ring. And Nancy gave me a certain lifting of the eyebrows, and that was the end of the ineffable.
And Sophie, we had such fun together. My wife and I never had such fun. How could I have just walked away?
We did have a great time when we went shopping up in Boston, and you bought me that Andre Courage Space Age dress with those Florence Otway shoes with the purple bows. But soon enough, you figured out I had no interest in reading anything other than Vogue and the Naked Truth Gossip magazine.
Yes, it's coming back to me. Whatever happened to you?
It was my daddy, Yale Op4, who got me into Yale, and my freshman and sophomore years after you dumped me were an utter nightmare. Until the summer before my junior year, I got an acting gig playing Constance Mackenzie Carson on the daytime TV soap opera Peyton Place, and the rest is history in the making.
And you, Joani, why did we go off track?
I had a very difficult childhood, and I'm a very needy person. And you had your books, Henry, and your Shakespeare, and your classes, and I just knew in my bones that you did not have the time and the patience to help me work through my issues.
And so you up and left me one rainy night.
I did what was best for both of us, Flowers. I was a mess, and you could not have helped me.
But there, you are so wrong. You were so beautiful. It would have been an honor to spend my entire being, to focus all my intelligence on you alone. Slowly, patiently, and lovingly bringing out all the goodness and strength that was within you.
Oh, but Flower, you have no idea of my sea of troubles. I was a child born of wedlock to a wealthy English lady, and I was raised by the lady's Spartan sister, who instilled a sense of worthlessness in me. When my cruel governess died, I became the ward of a chancery lawyer. I was very poor, but then, to my surprise, I was named the beneficiary of a large sum of money in my will. But the will was contested for years and years and years.
And you, Ashlyn, how did we come a cropper?
It's Stephanie, Henry.
Oh, sorry.
You were in the audience watching me play Ophelia in the Yale Theater. You left after the 4th act and never called me again. How could you treat a college sophomore so cold-heartedly?
I have seen 2 overwhelming Shakespearean performances. Ralph Richardson playing Falstaff, and your Ophelia. I was so overcome by your performance that I could not bear to see you buried in Act 5. I fled the house.
Why did you stop calling me?
You remember our little secret?
Yes. Was that it? I always wondered.
The horror that comes over me when I cannot find words to express my deepest feelings.
I kept seeing that in your books through the years. Whenever you wrote that you were moved by a work of literature, you danced away from telling us exactly how the artist reached you.
Well, in any event, I trust I gave you an A for your coursework.
No. A B+.
Well, I knew you were not destined for the academy. You were an actor. A great one.
Did you ever wonder why you never heard of me again? Why I did not realize my destiny?
I did, at first. But I supposed your career cratered. Life is unfair, after all. I assumed you'd gotten married and lived happily ever after.
I never married.
The stage lights go out. Terpsichore is now dressed like Angelina Jolie in the movie Lara Croft Tomb Raider. She is leading Flower by a chain connected to a ring around his neck. He is a troll, walking hunched over with a decided limp. Terpsichore is now fighting off the students with a sword, with Flower bouncing around, cheerleading her efforts like a stupid dog while sniffing and biting at the heels of her gamer opponents. Gamer 4 is dressed like an iPhone and fights like an Air Hogs remote-controlled Mega Bomb Hell Special Edition bomb-dropping helicopter.
Books follow a fixed linear path. The reader cannot control the narrative. You simply sit back and the story is dictated to you. Why would anyone in their right mind willingly embark on a journey utterly controlled by another person? Where's the adventure in that? Reading is not an active participatory process, it's a submissive one.
Terpsichore drops her sword, grabs a howitzer, and shoots at Gamer 4, but misses.
I have not played computer games, but I have seen my grandnephews play hour after hour. And it's scary. The passivity. It reminds me of the time after I was on a panel on a PhD thesis topic, Thug Notes on Hamlet, Kill His Pop, Street Justice, know what I mean? At a convention in Las Vegas, and I walked through a gambling casino, and all the people were mindlessly plugging coin after coin into the slot machines. And the most horrible thing is that occasionally you heard people winning. Coin after coin after coin, dropping into a metal tray, accompanied by nothing. No sounds of happiness. Not even a hint of joy.
Terpsichore fires shells at Gamer 4, with Flower as a troll sniffing at Gamer 4's knees. The troll is hit by some shrapnel, but shakes it off.
The dirty little secret of gaming is how much time you spend not having fun. You spend long stretches of time frustrated, confused, disoriented, stuck. Is this mindless escapism? No.
Cleo stands over Terpsichore, ready to inflict the final death blow on her, when out of nowhere, Troll kills Cleo with a direct hit from softly.
I don't know why I ever bothered taking you out on my adventures. You just scurry around the whole time like a stupid, scared, crazed lunatic dog. You're completely ineffectual. Next time, I'm going to leave you at home in your hole.
With my manga comic books?
No, of course not. I'm taking all your comic books away from you. You are worthless, Flower. Worthless.
Hereafter, Flower and the students fight each other with swords.
Books are tragically isolating.
Why are computer games so addictive? Because they reward effort. Real life offers no such rewards. You want a promotion, but today you need to get this memo out, and who knows whether it might contribute to a promotion. You take out the garbage, but who knows if it'll even get you one crummy kiss Sunday night. With games, if you solve the puzzle, the secret door opens, letting you enter a fascinating new world. With games, you seek and you find.
In computer games, there's no psychological depth here, no moral quandaries, no poetry.
Books merely learn to follow the plot. They're not learning to lead.
It's been proven. Computer games improve IQ.
Who says?
The data is out there. The results are in. Playing games adds 10 points to our IQ.
Where am I?
Shakespeare in Hamlet, in the graveyard scene, wounds us with wonder. In As You Like It, he gives us our best glimpse ever of heaven on earth. If we, as a people, no longer wish to experience such pain, such wonder, such joy, I, with great reluctance, as I have so loved this world and have so loved my life, no longer wish to remain in this company. Reading books is the only way to learn about another person intimately. There are no other such means.